There, the bar I think is probably open, and we're going to have Tim. Going to give us some good music for about 2 or 3 hours this evening, and we're also here on the flight line going to have the electric aircraft flying with lights and illuminations on them. So look forward to that as well. So plenty to see and do over the next couple of days. But the Decathlon, a deceptive aeroplane. It actually looks like just something like a tiger moth or a piper cub or something like that, but it is highly aerobatic. It has big control surfaces and it is designed for aerobatics. So things like, well, the moment he's coming through. What is going on? This morning, as well as this flight line here, we've got an area set back onto the hard standing where you came in, and we're going to have, I'm not quite time-wise knowing what's happening, but we've got some vintage cars coming in there, and we've also got a railway club coming up and setting up a miniature steam train, which I believe the children can ride on. There'll be about 100 metres of track set out there. So don't just stick with what's here. Put a sino out and tip it on, get it done.
But it was still blowing it about a bit. Tomorrow looks a better day, so hopefully we can get them a little bit tighter and smoother, but yeah, there's conditions we're dealing with. We're getting a flight, that's the main thing.
And I see you've got the FCB Aviation t-shirt on.
Yeah, we decided when we was down at Furford a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, we're a bunch of guys just out here having a bit of fun.
Lovely, thank you very much. We love that display. I'll hand back over to David now.
Okay then, Kevin, so now we've got the aircraft going through with the red ball markings that's been flown by Jono. He's flown this for quite a considerable time now, and he's got his helper out there, Gary Armstrong. He's the NMA safety officer, but he's also the membership secretary for the Large Model Association. So if you see him about, you would like to join the Large Model Association during the weekend, have a word with Gary. He's the one with the hat on that he's holding on his head. He's got the white hat on. So a lovely display by these two fabulous aerobatic. And look at those rolls. Full aileron, a little bit of down elevator, stop it dipping its nose in the inverted. There's Keith now powering through with the big oh yeah, a bit of born to be wild now. Let's go with it. But look at the drift on them as they come across to the wind. Keith with a nice slow downward roll. Smoke on and some rolling manoeuvres. You can never tell the lanes, but they're really hammering their way through this wind, and the pilots thoroughly enjoying the flying. Great stuff, guys.
I can't say that I've actually got on very well with biplanes in my history. So I think they're doing very, very well.
28-litre V12 engines and could carry a massive bomb load in case of the bouncing bomb, the animal, different trail formations you can see, but not anywhere near the bomb load capability, but it was built incredibly strong. You had the ball turret gunner, the side gunners, but the losses on them during the conflict of the long bombing raids into Europe were incredible. At first, the fighters, the Mustang, you can see escorting it now, wasn't available, and the B-17s would take off. They would have fighter escort for part of their journey into Germany, but then the fighters had to come back because they basically weren't carrying enough fuel or weren't efficient enough. That changed when the Mustang came along. The original Mustang, not that good, until they put the Merlin engine into the Mustang. What a combination. And it became loved by the pilots, the Cadillac of the sky. And that was the turning point, because the Mustang had the capability of carrying drop fuel tanks, and it could escort the B-17 the full distance to their target in Germany. We've got some great music on now. Now you can imagine, you can see now one B-17 in the air. You imagine what the big flights were, the big wing flights, 500 or 600 aircraft, and exceeding 800 at one point on a single bombing raid. They all used to take off from different airfields, meet up, and then just head for their target, which could be anywhere. My daughter lives in just outside of Nuremberg, but it was just a long way. We didn't appreciate these aircraft weren't flying at fast speeds. They were flying probably around about 180 mile an hour, if that. But a beautiful shot there with the Mustang escorting the B-17. Fabulous display. And now we've got another of the famous aircraft of World War II going up, the Wellington. It's David Williams flying the Wellington. Beautiful display this. B-17 low level, Mustang fighter escort, and the Wellington. Just watch and enjoy, relive the music and the aircraft in the sky. Enjoy this moment, our show at Elvington here this weekend. Stick it on repeat. It isn't really air related, the music, but just have a think back in your memory banks and see if you can remember which piece of music it is. Have a chat amongst yourselves and I'll give you the answer in about 30 seconds when we'll listen to a bit more of it. So which film is it from? Give you a clue, Steve McQueen was involved. Wheels down on finals, the Mustang overflying him as he's coming in, the B-17 doing its own thing out on the... So here's the Wellington in now, beautiful. The overfly from the Mustang, absolutely superb. David, brilliant landing. And B-17 on a wheels up, flyby. Can you imagine what these, not just the pilot, but the crew went through on a typical mission? Could be up to 8 hours, minus 40 degrees in that cockpit at a high altitude. The only thing, didn't have nice heating systems like you have on modern airliners, just big, thick gloves. You had the young guy, who was probably only about 19-year-old, was the ball turret gunner. He was actually slung into his ball turret under the aircraft. Steve and brilliant evocative display of what these pilots went through to accomplish their missions during World War II, the 8th Air Force out of the British airfields. Steve now looks as if he's on approach, he looks as if he's got wheels down and locked. Here it comes. It's a lot of weight. One wing isn't fully down, unfortunately. You can see it, one wing low. But what a bit of piloting to bring that down. There'll be some scrapes underneath the wingtip, but it's just nice, open, very scale. All these three aircraft totally scale. And the Storch making slow headwind. That is absolutely flat out, believe it or not. It was a slow aeroplane, but it had very good short landing and takeoff capability. See, it's got flaps down as well on that pass. It'll get there. Lovely formation now with the Stinson and the Flybaby up there, coming through now. Three totally different aeroplanes, but very, very enjoyable to just watch something a little bit different. And this is what the Large Model Association is all about. As well as bringing the shows, which we love doing, it's also getting the variety of aeroplanes right. We've got everything from World War I through World War II. We've got light sports aircraft, fast scale jets, fast sports jets, aerobatic biplanes, everything you've seen flying today. And it's always a pleasure to bring these models to you and demonstrate their capabilities.
We talked about Adam before, we talked about this beautiful Booker. A lot of work went into building this airplane, and he is very careful about where and when he flies it, particularly with the wind conditions, but he said he's going to give it a go, and that's all for your delight, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely beautiful aeroplane. It's won quite a few trophies flying this aeroplane. Being flown by Adam Broomhead. And just like the others, if you get a chance to have a look at them close up by the fence, please do. Please ask the pilots all about them. They're more than willing to talk about their creations. I'm just going to go quiet for a little minute while we enjoy the precise aerobatics of the Booker, flown by Adam Broomhead.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I've just been a children's corner doing very well, which is lovely to see all the kids enjoy themselves. And I think the mums and dads are as well. So, I'm going to have to sit down because I can't read the notes I've got on this. It's so windy, it's blowing all over the place. Let's try again. So the Youngmeister, this is actually 50% scale, or it's half the size of the full-size aeroplane. The engine is a Fiala 5-cylinder 250cc radial engine. Propeller, it's turning 34 inches in diameter with 16 inches of pitch. It's Jetty Central Control 220 with two receivers. Packer servos, OptiPower batteries, and Oratex colour covering. The suppliers used in this model are Aerobatex, E-Soaring Gadgets, Jetty UK, Nexus Models, and Model Fixings. Just reading the next bit so it makes sense to me. Well, the model pilot in this was actually made by Andrew Craddock of Dawn Patrol. The pilot's jacket is from River Island and his jeans were made from an old pair of leather jeans. It was built originally by David Penham and Adam was involved in the build as well. Again, the covering is by Adam Broomhead, and I know last time we said we'd use 20 metres of Oratex Holly-Hayes. This one used 40 metres of covering in the construction of it. 28 kilos, so this has to be Civil Aviation Authority approved. So it's got as much as possible duplicated in the control system, and it's gone through its proving flights of 3 flights this year before I can show it at the shows. In real terms, just to put in reality, it took him 1 year to build. The kit was imported from Germany, directly from a company just simply known as JW. It's all CNC cut, computer cut into a jig that then follows the patterns how it looks here, BERNDT. So look at that landing, look at that aero. What a bit of work of art in both building and Okay, we've got Steve Holland with the twin-engine Beech, and he's going to be flying together with Keith Mitchell with that beautiful airline out there, the Transworld Airline Super Constellation. Oh, doesn't want to go. He sorted it out, yeah, don't bother. Super Constellation's been on the circuit for many, many years now, and we have here today as well, somewhere out there, Tony Nyhouse, who was the original designer and starter of this aeroplane. It moved on, Keith took possession of it, and it went then his friend Peter Johnson, who's not with us today, he's off playing with his full-size gliders. It moved on, Peter and Keith worked on this model for probably about 3 or 4 years to get it to a flyable stage. It's perfectly scaled. Demonstrate the sort of power of that aircraft. We've got, when it comes on song and you resting your legs on the wing, you get dents in your legs because we give the engine the good old testing before it goes for approvals and everything else. So you've got Mick and John on the tail, got another John on the starboard wingtip, and another John actually on the port wingtip as well.
One, two. 1, 1, 1, 1, 2.
It's working.
Perfect. It really needs to be perfect before takeoff. He's got his assistant Gary will go to the flight line as his helper, Gary's going to help take it out now. Gary, perfectly competent of flying this aeroplane. He has flown it and landed it here, and he says it's an absolutely wonderful aeroplane to fly.
Are they ZDZ engines in that?
They are, yeah. Homemade cannons, getting the silencers into the cowls, and the other one was just look at the length of that spindly nose leg. This was an aircraft, not this particular one, but the Super Constellation was one of the original Air Force One presidential jets or presidential prop aircraft, and it was transatlantic flights in it. And it's just something a bit different to the normal aircraft we see, but when Keith flies it, it'll just demonstrate his capabilities. He'll probably do a slow speed stall just to show you what it looks like. It doesn't stall, it just nods its nose and flies away. Brilliant. So here we go, this is it. It's a very, very strange aircraft when you look at it. Very high aspect ratio wing. So the span of the wing is much, much greater than the chord of the wing, so high aspect ratio. And into formation with Steve. Keith will just fly around and Steve will follow him around with the beach. Sometimes he flies the de Havilland Rapide with it, and that's a very, very difficult combination because Keith is throttled right off and that de Havilland Rapide is working its little socks off to keep up with it. But there's a lovely formation. Again, brought to you by the LMA, a formation you will not see now with full-size aircraft. About a half throttle past these, just keeping that together. And you see just how much it's bumping that heavy aeroplane around. There's a lot of turbulence out there. These aircraft have no magic gyros or anything like that in. It's been flown by the man on the sticks. It's not having any electronic intervention or anything like that. Wonderful formation. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, Steve just powering on a bit, taking the lead now a little bit. Keith keeping the nice, steady pass. Slightly nose high as the wind is really influenced this aeroplane today. And now they're going to do, I think, a reversal, so they'll fly out and then they're going to turn left and come back down the flight line the other way. Yep. Here they come. Lovely sound of those big 85cc two-stroke engines. And then the different sound from the twins in the beach. Capable of flying a multitude of different aircraft. You've seen him flying the glider, the turbine glider earlier today. He's flown the Stinson Reliant and now the Beach. Different aircraft, different characteristics, different piloting techniques to get the best out of them. And that's what these top pilots can do. They can get the best out of an aeroplane without all the fancy switches and everything else. And Keith will be on a flyby. He's on the landing approach now. Yeah, a lot of little corrections going in on the ailerons. Little blip of the throttle, just controlling his... And safely now. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Saw them here, the beach and the constellation.